I don't know what it is about John in this show. I think the guy just loves me. Like, Alvin, give me an example. Give me a taste of John in New York.
Congrats on the Hall of Fame induction, Jim. The message from that guy in Milwaukee, the dude in Milwaukee, just shows how powerful the show is. And thanks for reaching back, Jim, and always trying to put all of us on. You're awesome. And I'm going to see you in New York on November 8th, hopefully. More on that in a sec.
See this guy. He loves me. He wants to come to my Hall of Fame induction ceremony. And actually, clones, a lot of you have asked about that. I think you can attend. You have to buy a ticket, though. They're expensive because that's how they fund the actual Hall of Fame. So you can attend, but the individual tickets and the tables are not cheap. Anyway, got to give this guy some love before I put him up. I want you to have the background. I want you to know who's calling. So that's him. We go now to New York. John in New York. How you doing, John?
Thank you, Jim, for taking my call. Jim, that interview that you did the other month with heavyweight champ Del Monte Wilder, that was like the best interview that I ever heard in my whole life, Jim. Jim, your interviews are the most awesome interviews in the history of radio, Jim. Jim, you're literally my bestest friend in the whole wide world, Jim. Thank you, Jim. Thank you.
That's not a good call. No. You don't like that call. I don't like that call.
Hey, Alvin.
Not a very good
You'll
call.
run that guy, but you'll let Mark in Hollywood just do whatever he wants for as long as he wants. Adam, I'm glad your headphones are on. Leave them on. Adam, you told me that was John in New York. I knew within 1 second that was not John in New York. If I had known that was not John in New York, I would not have built John in New York to be the guy he was. Who was that?
After listening to it, it sounded a lot like Jeff in Southfield.
Oh, it sounded like Jeff in Southfield.
Sounded like Jeff, yeah.
You can't confirm that. You don't know exactly who it was.
I don't know exactly, but it definitely sounded like Jeff in Southfield.
All right,
we haven't heard from since.
I'll tell you who. Okay, so it sounded like Jeff in Southfield. I'll tell you who it didn't sound like. John in New York. So when that guy calls up, presumably he probably said like he did on the air, "Hey Adam, this is John in New York. Put me on with Rome. I love him."
Thank you, Jim.
Did that guy sound to you like John in New York?
Yes. That
Yes.
sounds exactly
Oh,
like
it did.
John in New York. Yes.
It did.
Same cadence, same content. It sounded a lot like John, and I always like hearing from John. New York is a great market, so we had to get John on.
He's, let me guess, he was on topic, in market, and you wanted to put him up.
All of the above.
Hawk, he sounded nothing like John in New York. Hey, dude, remember, you work for me, not for them. Let me repeat that. You work for me, not for them. Who scratches your check? Me. Tread lightly, Hawk.
That was like the best interview that I ever heard.
Take your headphones off, dope. Man, why are you... Don't disrespect a guy who respects the show as much as John in New York. Hey, John, my apologies. I'm really sorry that had to happen. Jeff in Southfield. Come on, man. Dude, if you're going to take a run at somebody, why is it that guy? Come on, man.
You're literally my bestest friend.
The same Jeff in Southfield, Alvin, go back to his very first call. Jeff in Southfield was the rare clone and the rare caller that just exploded on the scene. I can count on one hand the number of times somebody has called this show a first time and made the kind of impression that guy did. I can count on one hand the number of times somebody's called this show for the first time and blew me away, like knocked me on my ass. Jeff in Southfield was a guy who did that.
Jim, Fonzie is the first clone ever. He was a clone before you were even born. Think about it, clones. The character Fonzie on Happy Days was an adult male, aged somewhere between 30 and 45, not married, no kids, and living in the spare bedroom of a suburban family's home. Now that's a clone if ever there was one, Jim. I wonder if Fonzie's full name was Arthur Caleb Fonzarelli. Jim, while my respect for the Fonz as a clone has skyrocketed, my respect for the notion of the TV character Fonzie as a ladies' man has plummeted. No wonder he never got a second date with Pinky Tuscadero. Turns out his hopes of scoring with her got malachi crunched between two realities. He doesn't have enough money to take her anywhere better than Arnold's, and two, the bed he wanted to take her to is in the spare bedroom of Mr. and Mrs. Cunningham's house. You know, that elbow in the jukebox trick is a lot less cool when the song that drops is Bet Soy Un Perdedor. But that's what you get when you hang with Ralph and Patsy. Bow, 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 bow. Bow, 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 bow. In the time of Happy Days Lunch with the Monkey. Okay, enough of that. Jim, I don't want to blow the best first call in jungle history by going too long, so I'll leave you now with a quote from Keith Richards. After all is said and done, got to move while it's still fun. Better walk before I get run. Bow, 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 bow.
You see what I'm saying? During that call, half the time I was just absolutely busting up, and half the time I was asking myself, what the hell is this? Not even who the hell is this? What the hell is this? What is this? What's going on? So, John, check that. Jeff, when I think of you, that's what I think of. Not some bad impersonation of some other caller. Man, do better. You are better. I know you're better. I'm not even going to tag that with, at least I thought so. I know you're better. I know that first call. It's got to be tough to live up to a call like that. Like, you'll never make a call that good ever again. But nobody can take that from you, man. That might have been the best ever first call to the show. You shouldn't be going after low-hanging fruit like John in New York. And I don't mean that as an insult. I mean, come on, man.
Thank you, Jim.
Some guy called up Hawk afterwards and said, Hawk, I'm literally crying. That's the funniest thing I've ever heard. Hey, listen, I'm funny. I know funny. That was not funny. That was disappointing. Jeff in Southfield.
Thank you, Jim.
Hey, Hawk, that really sounded like John in New York to you. Really? Hawk's like, ooh, yeah, somebody from New York. Oh, it's John. Oh, yeah,
Thank you.
Put him up.